Hi, and welcome back to Sports Talk with Billy Petty. I'm presented by Petty Sports. We may be small, but we're on the ball. It's been a while, but I'm back and I'm ready to start doing the show again. And we have a lot of things to go over. It's a complete football show today. All about football, all about the Super Bowl, about the Pro Bowl, about Jay Cutler, about injuries, about you got the Super Bowl coming up. There's nothing else to talk about. I'm going to start off with something that I'm going to do now, and it's going to be a trivia question every day. So this one's about the Super Bowl, obviously. And just put your answer in the comment section, and whoever gets it right first, I'll read their name off and the answer next show. And I'll do more trivia questions as we go on. So here's a trivia question for this week. Who was the only quarterback to win 2 Super Bowl MVPs in the 2000s? Which was this decade. Or last decade, actually. And I'll give you a hint. He cheated. So that's all you need to know. He cheated. So, an easy question. Put your answer in the comment section. It'll get harder as shows go on. But the Packers played the Steelers in the Super Bowl. Now, this is the most difficult of the 3 that the Steelers have played in the last couple decades. And I'll give you a reason why. When they played the Seahawks and when they played the Arizona Cardinals, the defenses of those teams weren't astonishing. They weren't very good. Therefore, we were able to come away with the victories in 05 and 08. And a lot of people say the 05 penalties were the factor, and the Seahawks should have won that game. Well, that's just their way of saying that they got beat. And I personally don't agree with that. And another thing that disappoints me is the Steelers are 2.5-point underdogs in this game. In my opinion, the Packers look better on paper if you look at their roster and you look at their record. But the fact is, we have 6 Super Bowls, 2 in the last couple decades. The Packers have a whopping 2 Super Bowls. Okay. Now I know the past doesn't, or yesterday's home runs doesn't win today's ball games, and all those things are all true. I think the Packers have a better team on paper, but the Steelers have a better team. They're more experienced. They've been to the Super Bowl 1, 2 times, But it's really going to come down to the center play for the Steelers, I think. Maurkice Pouncey has been ruled out indefinitely with an ankle injury, so he will not play. We saw what impact that had on last week's AFC Championship game with Doug Legursky, or whatever his name is, came in and he fumbled a couple of snaps, and it didn't look good. And that really changes the outcome of the game. And it's not just the snapping part. The centers have to read the line. They see a lot of things. And Maurkice Pouncey is such a good center, not only because he blocks good and he can hike the ball, but he reads defenses and he relays it back. And if you ever see him live on TV, he'll be pointing out signals, and he sees stuff, he picks up blitzes, and that is a huge. You need that in a game. And when you have a backup center that hasn't played the whole year, it's really a blow for the Steelers. So I'm not going to give you my pick yet on this game, but I know it will be a very tough-fought game, and it might be the first overtime game we've seen in a while. We know that a lot of games have been close, but they haven't gone to overtime. But I think this might be the first overtime game. I know who's going to win, and I know the score, but I'm not giving it to you yet. So now we have Jay Cutler and his ligament sprain or tear, or whatever he did. And he's been getting a lot of tweets and a lot of hype about he should have stayed in the game. He was walking around on the sideline. He was crying on the sideline. I agree partially to this. If I look at the stats of Jay Cutler, he was 6 for 14 with 80 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception in the first half. Personally, I think I would have benched him anyway in the second half because the way he played in the first wasn't going to get the job done. I mean, not unless he threw a 100-yard touchdown pass to end the half. I was not going to start him in the third quarter. So he got hurt, obviously. He tried to come out for one play in the third. It didn't work. He tried it. He came back out. But what disappoints me is not that he can't go, because he was playing horribly anyway. And it's not going to help his team by staying out on the field and trying to be a hero and playing horribly like that. But once you go onto the sideline, you don't sit on the bench and you don't do nothing. You don't sit there with headphones on playing music. And that's what he was doing. He wasn't listening to the quarterback. He wasn't talking to the quarterback. He's sitting on the bench over there alone. I mean, at times he's walking around fine. But when you sit on the bench like that, and you have no emotion, and you're just sitting there moping and crying, it's not how you play the game of football. You have to get up there. If you're out of the game, you be a cheerleader. First of all, when you're hurt, they take you back into the locker room. You get x-rays and everything. You're out, or you're going to go back in. Then you see them come out on crutches and stuff. Cutler didn't do any of that. Just stayed on the bench. And my point is that you have to be a cheerleader at that point. You have to be up. You have to be looking at plays with the backup quarterbacks. You have to be keeping your team in the game. This game was a 21-14 game. This game was closer than it looked. I mean, once Cutler came out, Todd Collins came in. He went 0 for 4, no yards, no touchdowns. And then this guy by the name of Chad Henne comes in, and he throws for 153 yards and a touchdown. He gets these Bears right back into the game, and they have a chance to win. I mean, if Cutler goes out and helps and gives a few pointers to Chad Henne, then you never know. They're right back in the game. The Bears could be in the Super Bowl. And they wouldn't be talking about Jay Cutler being hurt. They wouldn't be talking about him not being tough enough. And I really applaud the players on Twitter for coming out and saying that about Jay Cutler, because I agree completely. So that's that on the Bears, and that's that. You have to move on. Jay Cutler is that kind of personality, and that's why not a lot of people like him or respect him for the person he is. Well, what we have now is the collective bargaining agreement. Now, the way it looks now is that we're not reaching an agreement with the owners and the commissioner. The commissioner saying we'll drop his salary down to $1 million. I'd like to have the $1 million. A lot of people would. But that's not going to seem to do it. The owners want their money, and a deal isn't looking like it's going to get done, and a holdout might be in place for next season. And that really makes Stanford quarterback, I forgot his name, but a lot of people thought he should have came out next draft. But here's the thing, if he came out, he can't go back to college. He gets drafted, but then there's a year where there's a holdout and they don't play. But instead he stays in college. He gets another year of college football while all the pros are sitting and they're not playing games. So I think that probably went into his decision a little bit, and he wanted to finish his degree. But the thing is, he can go back and finish a degree anyway. But secretly, I think that was one reason why he stayed in college, was the collective bargaining agreement. So expect a holdout next year. That's what I'm looking at. And the last thing we got is the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is tonight at 7 o'clock. I don't like where it's at. I don't like the time. I don't like that's being played before the Super Bowl. If it's being played before the Super Bowl like it is, you can't get all the best players in the game to play in it, because the best players are on the Super Bowl teams. Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers especially. A lot of these, Clay Matthews, Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, I can go on and on and on and on. Half the Pro Bowl teams will be made up of players from the Packers and the Steelers. But the game is being played before, so they're not going to go and practice with them. You can't play a Pro Bowl game before a Super Bowl. And that's why it needs to be after. Okay? There's another complaint of mine. It's at 7 o'clock tonight. When have you seen a Pro Bowl game that's been at 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock. That means it's going to run into 9:30, 10 o'clock. And, some kids aren't going to be able to watch it. And it's a fun game to watch. It really is. But it gets worse and worse and worse when they make these adjustments. And then they don't play it in the United States. They play it in Hawaii somewhere, which I don't agree with. If you want fans to come out and watch the game, then put it in Miami, put it in Florida, put it in Louisiana maybe, somewhere, but don't put it out of the United States. I don't really agree with that, and that is what affected the time also, because it'd be 2 o'clock Hawaii time when it's 7 o'clock here. So I really don't agree with the time where it's at. I don't agree with anything with the Pro Bowl right now, but still it's a fun game to watch, and you should watch as much as you can of it. So that's on at 7 o'clock tonight. And it looks like that is it. Tune in next time. I might have a show tomorrow. So check back in. I'm getting started again. And remember, answer the question. It was, who was the only quarterback to win 2 Super Bowl MVPs in the 2000s? So that's 2000 all the way up to now. So who won 2 Super Bowl MVPs? He cheated. So that's that. See you next time. This is Sports Talk with Billy Petty. And I was presented by Petty Sports. We may be small, but we're on the ball. See you next time.